didn't feel like myself, because myself is all energy. It's all fun and positive vibes and so sociable. I love meeting people and chatting with folk and singing and dancing and all that stuff. And I couldn't do any of that in these 5 years. And so when that happened, I didn't feel like myself. The morning that I woke up after sleeping for 13 hours with Colin the CPAP machine, I could, thankfully, my general practitioner had also spotted that my blood pressure was still dangerously high, even though I was on the 3 medication. So they were trying to get my blood pressure under control. And while they were doing that, they also made me wear a heart monitor. So I got the heart monitor results back before I got the sleep apnea one. And it said that I had stopped. There was a point, and I never mentioned this in our last interview, because I was ashamed of it. And when I'm saying ashamed, it was a negative thing, and I didn't want to talk too much about negative. I just wanted to talk about the positive, because that's the way I always am.
Mm-hmm.
But up until about 3 months into my Mounjaro journey, I had not been able to have, I think, if I'm honest, I think it's probably affected me a lot more than I will let on. I think because I'm so used to that positive mindset, anything that could be negative, I let it sit somewhere right at the back of me, or so low that I don't think about it. But I remember the last time we met and you asked me a word that I thought of myself before the journey. And it's heartbreaking when you think about it. But I generally thought my family would be better off with me gone, because then...
Hello, and welcome. Well, look who I have with me today. It is Joe. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Dee Dee. Hi, Divalicious fam. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm not snowed in like you guys are in the US. So
Yes.
I'm feeling very blessed today. But what about you? How is it over where you are?
It is cold, very cold, right? The temperatures are below freezing. Wind chill makes it below 0. So it's super cold, but that's okay. You have brightened up my day. Yes. So, Joe, can you believe the last time we interviewed, it was about six or 7 months ago, 7 months to be exact, and it was in June. And I remember we discovered that we were what?
We're birthday twins! 21st of July!
Yes, I love that. So, Joe, I have been watching you ever since that interview. You have just excelled and taken off. And I see you out here on YouTube spreading love, spreading joy, spreading fun. And I just love that. And I want to say your story is so compelling. So I really am glad we're doing a check-in, because when we first met, you were having some mobility issues. You weren't getting around as much. And now you're doing it and you're out and about. So we want to know your status. But I guess before we get into that, we probably should let's wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. We got Miss Mary. Hi, Miss Mary. What's up with Miss Mary back there?
Well, she's now been called the flower cat because of her flower grooming collars. But she's got her anxiety, hasn't she? She has her anxiety where she's overbreathing. So she has to wear 2 of these collars because she's so agile. She can lick herself with just one of these on. Well, now because it's cold, she's also wearing these coats. So this coat is really calming her down so much more than even the collars. So living her best life at the moment. She's enjoying life. She's not harassed or anxious anymore, which is really good.
So happy and content. Well, that is cool. So now that we've checked in with Miss Mary, let's check in with you. So, Joe, you gotta, before we dive into how you're doing now, let's just catch people up on where you started. What were your challenges when you started taking Mounjaro, and lead us up to where you are now?
Yeah, sure. Well, remember, people can watch the video as well. So they can watch the video on your channel, see the original interview. But here's the clips. So I started on the 4th of April in 2025 with Mounjaro. And at the time, I had only just been diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea, and it was severe obstructive sleep apnea, so much so that I was stopping breathing every 45 seconds whenever I fell asleep. And I was falling asleep at any scenario. But thankfully I was housebound. So I wasn't going out and about then. I was falling asleep wherever I was, but it was usually on the sofa because I couldn't move. I was really struggling because as well as being so unwell with sleep apnea, my body had become so inflamed. I got chronic inflammation. I'd got all of these different comorbidities and chronic illnesses related to inflammation. And that's why I couldn't walk, because my toes and my fingers were so inflamed that just standing on inflamed toes at 351 pounds at that time, and that's the way it was there, it was impossible. So the great news is that now I'm not 351 pounds. The great news is that Mounjaro is very good for as an anti-inflammatory medication. So I'm now currently weighing in at 242 pounds. I
Wow.
still to Michael, because I still need Sir Michael to move around, because my balance is still off because some of my toes are still inflamed. But as you can see, my fingers are so much better. My toes are so much better. And then all of the other inflammatory illnesses that related, like the asthma, that's so much better, although I'm still suffering with it, but nothing like what I was at the start of the journey.
Now, when you say inflamed, describe what that feels like or is like for people who don't know what that experience is like.
Well, first of all, it started off as irritable bowel syndrome, which was inflammation in the gut. And that was making it so that I would have trouble eating and digesting foods, and I would swell up. My stomach would swell up regardless of what was happening from a digestive system issue, like going to the toilet regularly. Despite that, my body was swelling up, and that was the inflammation. And likewise, I would be having inflammation in my kidneys, so that the glomerular vessels in my kidneys, they were inflamed, and that meant that there was always blood in my urine. And then the inflammation in my lungs, which meant that I was suffering from asthma-like symptoms, but it was severe asthma, so they thought it was COPD, which is what smokers get. But I've never smoked, so it wasn't the smoking one. It was just really severe asthma. And then the other thing, of course, was the fibromyalgia and the Raynaud's. And what you'd actually see, and I think you can still see it a little bit in the video that we first did back in June of last year, you can see that my fingers are still swollen. And by swollen, it meant that they couldn't move as well. So just to grip things was difficult because I couldn't move them as well because they were swollen. And that was what was happening with my toes. They were swollen. And when they're swollen, that's not something that your skin wants to be doing. So your skin's stretched and it's sore. It's horrible. The inflammation is just horrible. And Mounjaro is certainly helping with that.
All right, very good. Oh, well, I'm glad you have improvements. And can you tell your fingers, have they gone down? They look slimmer.
They look slimmer, but even doing this, so I still can't do that heart sign. You know, the heart sign that the kids are all doing.
So you can't do that?
No, I still can't do
Oh,
that.
man.
So, but I'm now learning that one. That's one that was I bet Baby Dee Dee does this one, doesn't she, from the K-pop heroes?
She's not really allowed to watch that. So if she knows what to do, she won't let me know she knows.
These little finger hearts, they call them, or mini hearts.
Okay, so Joe, I'm glad you're kind of back in business there. I mean, it's not perfect, but you're getting there. I always say progress, not perfection. So it sounds like you're getting on that right track. Now, I want to ask you, what was the moment that you realized, like, I can't keep living like this. I got to do something when you discovered Mounjaro? What was that moment, and how did you remind us how you discovered it?
Well, I did a sleep study using the NHS, which is the National Health Service. in the UK. And the study happened in September 2024. And I was still struggling. I was really struggling with it. But at the same time, thankfully, my general practitioner had also spotted that my blood pressure was still dangerously high, even though I was on the 3 medication. So they were trying to get my blood pressure under control. And while they were doing that, they also made me wear a heart monitor. So I got the heart monitor results back before I got the sleep apnea one. And it said that I had stopped, my heart was stopping for up to 4 seconds in the night when I tried to sleep. So at this point, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to make it. I'm really not going to make it. This is every time I go to sleep, I did not think I'd be waking up. So I'd got all of my funeral plans together. And I'd got, I'd even sent it to my friends so that they would be able to help my mum and my sister, for when I do pass away. Cause my funeral has still got to be a party. It's got to be full of positive vibes. So I did all of that. But then my friend's husband had also told me that he was sleeping better and his inflammatory illnesses had been improved by Mounjaro. So I'd already spoken to my GP and my asthma nurse about getting access to Mounjaro. And the GP had said, well, what I'll do is I'll refer you for tier 3 weight management. But if you want to pay for it privately, then do so. So then I'd gone through the process of getting it privately. So the week that I actually received my CPAP machine, no collar my CPAP machine, I also got the Mounjaro that I was paying for privately the same week. The very first night that I slept, I suddenly felt so, and I think I've said this to you before, DDs, that for the 5 years that I was housebound and becoming very, very unwell, it was maybe it doesn't seem quick, but it seemed really rapid for me, the 5 years. And I didn't feel like myself because myself is all energy. It's all fun and positive vibes and so sociable. I love meeting people and chatting with folk and singing and dancing and all that stuff. And I couldn't do any of that in these 5 years. And so when that happened, I didn't feel like myself. The morning that I woke up after sleeping for 13 hours with Colin the CPAP machine, there was a shimmer of light. I could see she was there. She was there. And then I also did the weigh-in and I'd lost 11 pounds. But
in the first week.
In the first week. But remember, I suffer with inflammation.
Yeah.
So, and it turns out there's another condition. We'll talk about it later. But the whole part of my illnesses are all based on inflammation, which then is water retention.
Yeah.
And just being able to sleep. And as I say, waking up and feeling amazing, the amount of water that was released that first week. And that's just what has continued. So I've not changed the way I eat. I've been eating the same way for the last 4 years now. Not changed the way I eat, not changed the way I drink. It is purely, I'm taking the GLP-1 and I'm getting some sleep.
So you have always been the old man and the eating, the meat, protein, lots of protein and veggies.
Yeah,
wow.
Always. Look, I've said always from 2016, when I was first diagnosed with IBS and they found out all the complex carbs that were setting it off, then I didn't touch complex carbs. But then when I saw my rheumatologist in 2022, she said, do 1 meal a day. Try intermittent fasting. She says, read Dr. Jason Fung, check out Jim Stevens on YouTube and try doing 1 meal a day, eating all of your calories in 1 meal. And if you are doing low carb, happy days, do you low carb. So I've been doing that since 2022. Yeah, because then I saw her again 2023.
So it was this medicine that has changed your life.
100%. And interestingly, when I did see the rheumatologist in 2023, I says, personally, I'm feeling a little bit better in myself because I'm feeling that I'm doing things that are in my control. Like the making sure that I'm trying to get better sleep and making sure I'm only eating 1 meal a day and whatnot. And I said, and I am feeling more positive because I feel like There's that level of self-control. But I'm still putting all of this weight on. And she said, Jo, your body is still very unwell and you will not lose weight until your body starts to recover. So she says, don't worry about the fact that you're putting all of this weight on for now. She says, just focus on, we're finding a way to get your body to recover.
Wow. Wow. Well, I want to know. So, when you first discovered you can get up and be mobile, because you were up and you were using. I remember you were using the walker, and when you first discovered, what was that first step like? Because I remember the video you made when you walked out of the house. So, what was that moment like? Like, what made you know that you could do that?
I think it came incrementally. There was a point, and I never mentioned this in our last interview because I was ashamed of it. And when I'm saying ashamed, it was a negative thing, and I didn't want to talk too much about negative. I just wanted to talk about the positive because that's the way I always am.
Mm-hmm.
But up until about 3 months into my Mounjaro journey, I had not been able to have a shower or a bath. And I was struggling with the personal hygiene of it all because I was so unable to move. My joints were so swollen with all of this inflammation that I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to wash my hair. I couldn't do that. And I couldn't step into the shower because I've got a shower over the bathtub. I couldn't step into the shower to have a shower. So one of the first things that I noticed, and I think it was about week 6, was that when I was cleaning my teeth, let me show you. What I'd used to do was I'd stand there like that and hold on to the basin, clean my teeth. And I noticed suddenly I was able to hold onto the basin, but clean my teeth like that. And I was like, what in the world? What in the world? This is insane. I could clean my teeth standing up. And that meant that my toes must have been less inflamed because I felt that I could put some weight on my toes. And yeah, so it happened from there. I think by the time we met in June last year, I was able to get in the shower. And I still do get into the shower. I was laughing with somebody the other day. I'm now at a stage where I can walk around the house, but I'm walking like a pinball machine. You know, with banging onto the sides because my balance is still not okay. But I know that if I'm putting my hands on my walls, it's my walls.
Right.
But if I'm out and about, I still need Sir Michael because although I feel better walking, I haven't got my balance and I still technically haven't got the core strength to hold me standing straight. So I can't stand straight and hold myself standing straight unless I find myself then holding on to something.
What an accomplishment. So you went from not being able to stand and then being able to stand with the walker with some stability to now being able to not have that walker and just maneuver through your house. I'm sure that's a great feeling. And I understand, I think sometimes we have struggles. I think you're not alone in that. I've also known people who said they had a hard time. They didn't even have fibromyalgia. They just had a hard time maneuvering to get in and out of some people don't have showers. So thank God you even have a shower. Just
Yeah,
imagine the people that only have bathtubs and
exactly.
have to try to maneuver with all that weight. It's just difficult. And you kind of need someone to take care of you. And then I've known people who said they were even ashamed to have their children help out because they were embarrassed or their husband to help out because at some point they got embarrassed. So it's a real thing and it's out there. And I'm glad you spoke up about it because I think it was going to bring comfort to other people to know that other people experience this too. So yes,
And
you are keeping at it. I just love that.
I would say as well that I think the beauty of journeys like my own is that I've been there. I've lived life. I've lived in that feeling of shame, the feeling that you don't want anyone to come around because you don't know how bad you might actually smell. That sort of thing. And now look at me. And it's because I took the medication. The GLP-1 is a medication. Anyone tell you it's a skinny jab, it's a cheat. They're not the ones who are struggling in your life every day. So if you are struggling like me, like I was, there is hope for you. It's going to cost a fortune. It does cost a fortune. We can't get around that. But if your insurer can cover it, or they cover some of it, and it's not necessarily Mounjaro you're on, if you're on a GLP-1 that's now a pill form, if they can cover that, give it a go, because it's really making some changes to our metabolic health.
I agree. And I think we have done, not we, the media has done such a disservice with calling it the fat jabs or the fat shots or the skinny shots, because it does more than just the weight loss. And it really wasn't even initially designed for people to lose weight. So it was for diabetics and people who had struggles with their blood sugar levels and all of that insulin sensitivity. And so I think it's great that we're discovering more benefits and more uses. And I think that's just going to open it up to possibly becoming cheaper so it's more accessible. But I think the story is beyond the weight loss. And obviously, the weight loss contributes to all those other issues, right? It just kind of makes it worse. So I think that we should be proud of your journeys, but I don't think we should shy away from it. We're losing weight because it's helping us. But let's not that be the whole story. I guess that's what we're saying. There are other things
I
that
love
that it's a health journey, right? It's not a weight loss journey. It's a health journey, and that's, I guess, the message I want to get out on my channel, and I think that's the message you're getting out as well.
I remember when you were showing us your results from your lab tests.
DEXA scan.
The DEXA scans, but also when you did like the tests for the A1C and things, you can see the difference. So we can see the visible difference because of the weight loss, but it was very clearly evident in the DEXA scans, in the lab test results, all of those things, the movement of it all of those things that we're now celebrating as non-scale victories alongside the weight loss, because as you say, it's a part of bringing a life back, a lifestyle that we want to have, not a life that we're currently stuck in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what I want to ask you. The sleep apnea. So, well, first of all, before we talk about the sleep apnea, if you had to give one thing, a trophy, an honor, what would be the best non-scale victory you've had since you've been on this journey to get healthy?
It's got to be the sleep.
Okay.
The sleep.
The sleep of it all.
The sleep of it all. But sleep is so integral to our good health.
It is.
Really is. And like my friend at the moment, she's got a 9-week-old baby. And she's struggling with sleep, and it's ruining her whole mental health moment, her mindset. It's setting off her anxieties. She's all of the things. And it's like a good night's sleep is so restorative. It's so restorative. And with Colin, my CPAP machine, I feel blessed. Every night I sort of like skip into bed. How you, Colin? And that mask, because you said you've got 3 different masks available that I'm aware of. There's several other masks, but there's also treatments that you can use, just things that you could put in your mouth to stop the tongue going back. Whatever it is, please engage with that tool, because if you're not with sleep apnea, it's not snoring. Sleep apnea is about the fact that your body stops receiving oxygen. And every time your body stops receiving oxygen, the cortisol kicks up. It thinks you're in danger. You do the fight or flight. You might not even be aware of it, but your body is aware of it. And that's when the inflammation goes up, when you're feeling anxious all the time, you've got brain fog and all of the things. So if you
overeating kicks in,
especially the overeating.
Yeah.
See, with cortisol, that will set off the overeating and then ultimately increase your blood glucose levels as well. So for someone who has got sleep apnea, your body is constantly having this thing where oxygen is being deprived. and that does a number of things to your other organs as well. That will kill you. I'm going to put it out there. That will kill you if you don't take it seriously enough. So don't worry about the fact that a sleep app machine, is a CPAP machine it's an annoyance. Or, I'd rather not sleep with this on. You might not sleep with that, but if you was in a deep sea and you were given that scuba mask, you would clutch for it. You would be like, please give me the oxygen. That's what you got to think about your CPAP machine being. Please give me the oxygen.
Yeah, I once had a friend say, it was a guy, he's like, sleep apnea and that mask isn't sexy. And I said, well, neither is being in a coffin. So pick one. Pick Pick one. Jeez Louise. Oh my goodness. So I think if you think of it like that, and when I first started on my health journey, I always think of things like in levels, right? Or steps or something to that effect. And I always thought of the umbrella as being like your mindset. And then after your mindset, I always thought it was nutrition. But really, to me, sleep is that next thing because even if you're eating well, you're exercising, all the things you're doing, if you're up 23 hours, I'm still not functioning at your highest level because that sleep is so important. And a lot of people struggle with the sleep. And I remember it was a message out there some years ago, like if you're sleeping too much, you're not doing enough, right? And I think it's something to be said if you're sleeping. I mean, if you're sleeping half of your day away, that's something totally different. But if you're getting that 7 to 9 hours, 8 being that sweet spot, I think that's where
Yes.
we all need to focus on where our bodies should be at. And that's so important because when we're holding on to weight, I know people have looked at everything and then they got down to that sleep. And once they fixed that sleep, they started losing again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I generally think that's what happened with me. I think the moment I got the sleep, the cortisol must have been thinking, hold on a minute. And it was 13 hours sleep I got the first night. I was like, this is great.
Wow.
And even then I'd gone from 80, because it was called 85 AHI, which meant that I was stopping breathing 85 times an hour. And that
Oh,
very
wow.
first night I'd gone from 85 to 8.3.
Amazing.
In the one day of using one night of using the CPAP machine.
So let
So,
me ask you, so on the scale from 1 to 10, if you were at a 1 before taking Mounjaro, where do you find yourself now?
well, it's touch and go at the moment. So because I also suffer from fibromyalgia, which is worsened when it's cold. I'm not going out again anymore. I'm going out in order to do something. So I'm going out for like the 50th birthday party I was at the other week, or the baby shower that I was at a couple of months ago, or my sister's birthday this week. But every time I go out, I haven't got the immune system set up yet to be able to handle all the germs I'm now in front of. And also the fatigue of it all. I'm still suffering with fatigue because I still have the heart problems. So I went out on Saturday, and then knowing full well that I was going to be struggling Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, touch wood, I've not had a fibromyalgia flare up. But I did say to you, I'm feeling a bit raspy today, and I've got all the bags. I've got lots of bags under my eyes at the moment, because when I do feel like that, then it means it's difficult to sleep, even with the mask, because especially if I've got like the respiratory thing, then trying to sleep with my mouth open with all of this air going in, it dries me out, and then I wake up coughing. So that sort of thing. So at the moment it's like this. But had I not gone out,
Would you give it a 5 out of the, if you had to put it on the scale?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'd say I'd put it still at an 8.
8.
Because
Okay, good, good.
because knowing that 1 was me at my very worst, I know I'm not nearly anywhere near as bad as that. So I'm
Good.
still putting it at 8.
I
So
love that. All right, very good. So I love that. I love that. I was thinking once you started talking, I said, "Oh, is she maybe giving it a 5?" So you're giving it an 8. So you still have some growth, but you're far ahead from where you were before. So I think that's the best thing. I wanted to ask you too, follow back on what we talked about with the mobility of it all. How did that affect you emotionally? I know how you described not being able to bathe and do some of those just day-to-day things that we take for granted. But how did that emotionally affect you not being able to be out and about? Because I remember us talking about your birthday, and you were hoping to be out and about with your friends on your birthday, but it wasn't a for sure thing.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you emotionally?
Said surplus. I felt surplus to requirements. Which is just, it's heartbreaking when you think about it. But I generally thought my family would be better off with me gone, because then I'll release the money that I've got in my house, so I could help my nephews and a life going forward, because I was not able to help anyone do anything at that point. Well, now look at me. Now, even though I'm housebound still, I'm not, no, I disagree. I'm not housebound still. I'm intentionally housebound just while we're still sorting out what's going on with my heart. And so I go out when I've got something to go to and really enjoy knowing it's going to set me back a little bit. But I'm doing like the Auntie Joe bedtime stories. The Auntie Joe, my nephews and nieces now see the Auntie Joe that my older nephews grew up with. The fun-loving one and full of energy. And now I'm not only there seeing it. I mean, did I tell you, Dee Dee, at the beginning of December, I babysat Cairo and Isla for the first. Now, Isla is 7 years old. I'd not ever babysat her before. And I babysat them for the first time. And I just spent the whole time just in wonder, in awe that I was able to do this. I was like, and my mum came back because they were staying at my mum's house. And my mum came back because she couldn't babysit because she was going out for the evening with her friends. So she came back. She goes, "Oh, you can go if you like." I went, "No, I'm babysitting. You've been out. I'm the babysitter." I said, "But Mum, can you believe I'm babysitting?" And my mum turned around to me. She says, "Joe, I can't believe you're here." She's like, "I genuinely cannot believe you are here because we didn't think you'd make it." I was like, "I know."
Yeah,
But instead of being upset about it, I'm putting that feeling behind. And maybe I will have to deal with it at some point, but I'm not dealing with it until I'm over the worst. Because as I say, I've still got my problems with my heart. So I only want to bring positive energy in and send positive energy out until all that's sorted. So I'll deal with the heartbreak and the emotion and because if I'm honest, I think I must have been in a depressive state. I must have been hugely depressed to feel like surplus. And now I'm not. And I tell you, I could tell you with all honesty, I'm not. The idea,
your theme song should be Diana Ross's "I'm Coming Out. I want the world to go. I gotta let you go. I'm coming out."
even the chair dancing of it all, I can't dance.
Yes.
Can't dance on my, because of the balance, but I can rock it out on the chair.
Rock it out, Joe. I say, rock it out, Joe. But wait, let me ask you. I got to go back to something you said. So you said to bring it back. When you said when you go out, you go out now to events and things, but you're going to have to pay a price or deal with it later, something like that. You said, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so I think I mentioned it before in the other video that they found out that I'd got hyperaldosteronism. And that is where you've got a hormone. So it's a hormonal thing. It's a hormone that affects a lot of people who've got uncontrolled hypertension. And they actually tested this back in 2018. Found I had it.
Wait.
Well, can you remember I mentioned before in our last video that they had found that I'd got too much aldosterone in my system when they did the test back in 2018. Well, they should have treated it. And by not treating it, what that actually does is, on the kidneys, you've got the adrenal glands. The aldosterone sets off too much adrenaline being released into your body. And that also sends too much renin into the system. And that means that you're going to be retaining water. And then with the adrenaline of it all as well, you will notice, if you see me alive, you see me, come on, get really giddy with excitement. Sometimes you see me literally sweating. That's why I used to have the fan all the time, didn't I? And then you see the energy dip like that. And the primary aldosterone is impacting you still that way. Although I've got the Mounjaro, the anti-inflammatory, it's not actually stopping the actual aldosterone being pushed out and along with the adrenaline. So every time I go out or every time I do something, it sends my energy into levels like this of almost mania,
Right.
brings me back down, and then I'm suffering with the fatigue. And what that's actually done on my heart already, it's made my heart enlarged. I've got the left ventricular hypertrophy, which means I've got the thickening of the left side. And then they can't check to see what valves are damaged yet because the blood pressure is still raging. It's still not been brought under control while the aldosterone is still not under control.
No, and
So
now
that's
that
what I
affects the
suffer from.
heart too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think this is something I was explaining to I'm gonna bring the mood down again. I can't believe, no, I'm not bringing the mood down.
No, we're
Um,
just talking truth and facts.
yeah. My friend was saying, oh, come on, girls, cause she's in a loved up relationship. She's over the moon with her Prince Charming. And she says, come on, girls, when are you two going to go and find your Prince Charming? And I said, well, if I'm honest, I don't have that long left. I said, the heart beats for a finite amount of times. And mine's been beating like the clappers for the last 5 years. So I've not got a huge amount of time left. So the time I've got left, I'm going to be enjoying myself. I'm going to have the best time possible, having the most fun with the people I know I'm having fun with. So I'm not going to be wasting time on some no mark of a man, some scrub of a man who may insist that I compromise or make all of these changes for. I have not got time for that.
We don't have time for that.
I, I love it the way you guys say it, but I do not have the time. So I'm like, do you know what? If my Prince Charming comes along, sweeps me and Sir Michael off our feet, by all means, he can come and do that. But I'm not looking for him anymore. There's not enough energy left in my energy supplies to waste energy on.
I think the best thing you can do, and this is the best advice, my dad gave me, is just stay open and not be so, closed minded about it. And then he will find you. I don't think that we have to go out looking for him. I think he's going to find us. And I think that the person for you is going to accept you for who you are and whatever you have going on, right? Because
Yes.
you can always improve, right? Even the beauties out there that we think have everything together, they might not have everything together. It might be beyond what we can actually see that they don't have together. I don't think you're ever ready, but you're ready when, to me, God sends you that person. You just have to be open to it. So love will find you. I don't think you got to go searching for love, but I do think you have to be open to it. You have to be open to it. Yeah.
I'm agreeing with that one for sure. Your dad is full of huge amount of wisdom. I'm taking that one on board.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you might be ready because emotionally and your mindset, I think you were thinking you have all these things going on, but he may too. He may have things going on, and it's just accepting each other. So let me ask you, have you ever thought about quitting? Because you have so much going on. Have you just ever felt, since you've been taking Mounjaro, maybe you were before, but since you've been on this health journey, have you ever just thought, this is overwhelming, this is too much, I just give up? I thought I'd be back to normal already, or what you thought was normal. Never, not once.
Never. And I tell you another thing, I do not plan on coming off Mounjaro. I'm not working at the moment, but I will pay for the roof over my head. I'll pay food for Miss Mary, and I will pay for my Mounjaro. And anything else that needs paying for, we will work that out. But those three things will always be paid
Yes.
I'm not coming off it.
Now, are you paying out of pocket for your Mounjaro? Is it cheaper there now since, no? Okay.
I'm paying £329 a month. So at the moment I've got, I'm working with a weight management team where, they just offer everybody a recommend a friend, but it's a subscription service. So they take £329 out of your bank account every month and send you the Mounjaro. But that works for me because I've got no plans of not doing it. I will always be taking it.
And
And
what dose are you taking now?
well, now technically I'm on 10. So
Okay.
they're between you and me and the people who watch this video, and they're sending me the 15 ml pen. But in the UK, we've still got those quick pens that you can do the count. So I'm taking 10 and I do it in 2 5 meg doses a week.
Okay.
So with that, I'm thinking at some point, I will always make sure that I'll have enough. So if I've got enough because they're sending me 15 mg every month, then I will always be able to have a surplus of it. Is that the right phrase I'm looking for? I'll have a supply of it.
He said surplus supply. That we'll take that too. Okay. All right. Very good. So I think that's great. I think that's great. I think that it's great to have options. Now, does your doctor know you're doing the split dosing, and they're okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
Because that's what I want to say. We're not doctors. This is just her strategy, what works for her. And if your doctor is okay with it, you try that. But if your doctor is not okay with it, I don't think you should do it unless your
No.
doctor okays it.
For me,
Yeah.
my doctor and my pharmacist said that you do not exceed the dose that we've sent you. Whatever you do not exceed the dose we've been sent you. But if you want to take it that way, because for me, remember at the time, I was trying to get out, especially over the summer. I wanted to be out. I wanted, the I'm Coming Out song, and, you'd see me with all the youngsters that hang around at the college near me. And I just wanted to be out, and I did not want to be stuck at home struggling with nausea or with the diarrhea and the sickness of it all. I didn't want to be at home for that. So they said, no, it makes sense to us that you're doing it that way. Others might not want to do that way because it means that I take 2 injections a week rather than 1. But for me, it worked for me, and my doctors understood that that's why I was doing it, and they were happy that I was doing it. But whatever, do not exceed the dose that you've been prescribed. It's not worth even playing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. If you had to give advice to somebody who was, well, before I would ask you that, I want to ask you, you're 10 months, how many months have you been taking Mounjaro? I forgot.
I think I'm now in my 9th month.
Ooh.
Bad, my maths is poor. I started the very beginning of April. So April the 4th was when I started.
Okay. All right. Oh, and you've lost how many pounds? Over 100, right?
Yes, I think I'm 109 pounds.
Oh, gosh. All right. So what if you that's excellent, Joe. What if there was someone who, was starting to take their GLP-1 and they were stuck, they were not losing? Do you have any advice for them? Like, what would you tell them to do?
My advice always is going to be related to health first. So if somebody's on a Mounjaro, then the chances are that their BMI has to be over a certain amount, and they may have a comorbidity already that they're aware of. So that's just you're not able to get Mounjaro unless you've got at least a BMI that's over a stage that's been classified as obesity. And we now know obesity is a disease. Like my rheumatologist said, you're not going to be losing weight until your body starts to get into control of what was causing it some harm. So work with your clinicians, work with your medical team. If you know something is not right in your system, go and seek help and find the help, because it might be something as simple as like me and CPAP machine, Colin upstairs. It might be that then stops your body going into that cortisol stress free fall, and then you'll be able to start losing weight again. But I love the thing that you always say, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit.
Just don't quit. Yes, I do. I really believe that. And research is showing that if you lose slower, it's better. And a lot of people start off fast and furious, I always say, and then eventually it slows and I think it levels out. So, and I also think it depends too on where your body was at when it started, right?
Yes.
How your body was functioning metabolically, how your body was functioning with the insulin resistance, how your blood sugars were regulated or not, all your health conditions. So my fast and furious might be different from even your fast and furious, it's just going to vary. And I think when we keep that in mind, we don't compare as much. And I think we're starting to do a lot more of that, looking at where we are as opposed to where everybody else is and trying to compare that way. So that's been one of the great things about being in this GLP-1 community is we're learning to do that, right? And focus on us and where we're at and how we're doing.
I love the GLP-1 community for that. I absolutely love it because, as you say, if you just listen to, things that you might hear in the media or little snippets that you hear, you're not hearing the full complexity of things. So people recognize now that my 109-pound weight loss, majority of that was water retention that I've been having with all of these chronic illnesses that is really centered on water retention. So then people aren't going to be thinking, well, I'm going to lose 109 pounds in 9 months because they might not have water retention like I've got. So
Yeah.
it makes the complexities and learning about, following somebody on their channel, enjoying the chat that you see, whether you're in a live chat or whether you're in the comments, engaging with the GLP-1 communities. And that way you're going to learn so much more about what may in fact be happening with you.
Yes.
And focusing on you rather than comparing on what's going off outside.
Yeah. So, whatever we say in the at the live streams and in, our video chats, take what you can use and what applies to you and what you don't, keep it moving. Right. So if it doesn't apply to you, keep it moving. So I could watch your channel and you're talking about, the protein, veggies, no complex carbs. Well, I'm eating complex carbs. So am I going to feel like, oh man, I got to be eating like Joe if I want to lose that weight? Because I might do the same thing you're doing and I may not lose as fast or as much at your pace. So I think you got to do what works for you. So let me ask you, since we're kind of talking about doing, what works for you, I want to know, is there something you want to clear up about the GLP-1 myths that are out there? Is there something you thought or you hear or you hear people saying that you think that's not really true? Is there something out there that we could clear up for folks as far as the GLP-1, or do you think people have it together now?
I think people have it together, those who are on it and those who are on the GLP-1 in the community. If you're watching somebody and you're already aware of the real stuff that's going on, you're not paying too much attention to the media. One thing that I think people who may be thinking about taking a GLP-1, so they're only listening to what they're hearing out there, is you don't need GLP-1. You just need to use some willpower. And what people are saying that have completely missed the point. They're the same people who will say to a diabetic, whichever type of diabetic, don't worry about insulin. Don't worry about your blood sugars. You just have to work at it yourself and it will sort itself out. That's not how medicine works. We take a medication to help improve our life and our health. And that's what a GLP-1 is for. That's what it's there for. It's to help you with whether you've got metabolic disorders. Obesity is a metabolic disease, and it's now confirmed it's a disease. If it's anything like inflammatory diseases, like they're now looking at it. My sister's got MS. They're now looking at it for people with MS because MS is inflammation of the nervous system.
Yeah.
And if you and I both know, because we've got our joint pains and our issues with inflammation around our body, that we know that the GLP-1 is helping to relieve some of that. So it could be doing so much more as a medication that willpower never was able to do. Willpower was never able to help someone with MS overcome the inflammation in their nervous system. How on earth is willpower going to help the person with a metabolic disorder overcome their own disease.
Absolutely. And this is a treatment plan too. I think we have to think of it as we're treating a disease, which is obesity. And if it's a treatment plan, it's not something you just willy nilly take. You follow the plan, right? You take it when you're supposed to take it. You consult a doctor. And I think this is where it's kind of getting out of control, where people think I could just get it on the black market and get it from anywhere. And most medications you wouldn't take like that. So this one also should not be taken like that. It needs to be taken under the guidance of a doctor or a healthcare professional that's going to support you and give you strategies along the way. And somebody you can check in with too. I think that's important because things happen along the way, for good or bad, right? Are you taking too much now? Maybe you're not taking enough. So whatever it is, I think if we start thinking about it as not even just a medication, but a treatment, I think
Treatment.
that we're going to turn the thinking around that it's just temporary. And for some of us, it may be, right? Because you may not have been that damaged in where you need to have it long term forever. But some of us are going to need it forever. And I think that we have to be okay with both ends of the spectrum because that's just the
Exactly.
reality of it.
And
Yeah.
you know what? If other people are not okay with that, that still doesn't impact us, because at the end of the day, they're not walking in our shoes and they
Yeah.
don't know the dramas that our own lives are experiencing and the complexities of our situation. So if somebody doesn't like the idea that you might be thinking of staying on a GLP-1 for the rest of your days, does it really matter to you anyway?
Yes. Now, I want to ask you this last thing before we talk about your YouTube channel, because I want to talk about your channel and your new adventure you have going on. But this is a question I want to know from you specifically. Where do you see yourself in your whole health journey? Where do you see your life in 3 to 5 years from now?
Well, I'm hoping, and you know what? Can I just say as well, that I don't know if you asked me this in the first interview we did, but I think shortly after you did a live and was talking about the future, and I couldn't compute the fact that I'd got a future. So now I'm very much aware that I have a future and celebrated the fact. I'm well happy celebrating it. It's my 50th this year on the 21st of July, as you know. Our birthdays are the same. So I'm wanting to be able to celebrate that how I'd like to. But if I can't, and instead, because again, I've still got the problems with the heart and the problems with the NHS as well, I'm not going to be seen anytime soon. So, that's just the reality of it. But at the same time, that's not going to stop me enjoying all future planning. So if it doesn't happen this year that I come to the States, meet you all, if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen next year or the year after. It's definitely going to happen. And the only reason why it won't happen is purely because I'm not able to physically do it just yet. But I will be able to. And that's the difference in the mindset. I know I will be able to.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I can't wait to see you 3 to 5 years out. So we're birthday twins. We got to keep it in touch no matter what and
For
see what's
sure.
going on. So I'm looking forward to celebrating 50. 50 is such a great milestone. And I know some women don't embrace turning 50, but I like to think of it as God giving me a chance to enjoy I call it the second chapter of my life. And I think too, I know people don't make it to 50. So what a blessing it is to make it to 50. And I think we have to change the narrative that you're old when you're 50, because you're not. You're aging like fine wine.
Yes.
Before we go, I want you to tell us that we know I always get this wrong. So let me see if I can get it right. And I'm not even looking at notes. Joe's sleep and slim down journey.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I don't say sleep first. I want to say the other part first. So that's why I wanted to get it right. But you started a new venture. So tell us about that so we could check that out.
Okay, so remember I was just saying about the fact that I was babysitting Cairo and Isla, and they got to meet the real Auntie Joe, because the real Auntie Joe is just a ball of fun. And I love children so much. I've not got my own, but I've got so many wonderful nephews and nieces, and now they're getting to meet the real me. But I also like writing poems, and I write poems because it helps me to, just the mindfulness of it. I like to be creative and just to do something where you just, pen and pad, or now, I'm tapping away on my ergonomic pad that is so noisy. We were laughing about that pad. We were so noisy. But I find it very therapeutic. So anyway, I'd started writing some children's poems, and then I thought, you know what? Now I'm getting well, but I'm not actually going to be able to go back to work yet. I'm a learning development specialist and a learning development coach. So I thought I really need to do a second channel, but have it a professional channel. But also I'd like to do something which was really, close to my heart. So I spoke to Elizabeth, and she does tarot readings. She said, Jo, go with the heart. She says, because the Auntie Jo thing, you don't realize just yet what a difference you can make in the world. There is children out there who've never had a story read to them. There are children who haven't got an auntie, children like that are in residential care homes and things. They haven't got family. To know that you are their Auntie Jo, and you're treating them like they're your children, your nephews and nieces. And so I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. So I've released Auntie Jo's bedtime stories, and I probably do like one video a week, because you can't really push to do a poem. With that said, I've not done my poem this week yet. I'm still writing it. But I read it from my I'm pointed over there, because I don't move. I just go to the other side of the living room. And there's a rocking chair, and I talk to the children for a bit, and I ask people if they want to have their children have a poem dedicated to them. Just write into me, because there's nothing better for me doing this, because as I say, it's filling me with joy to actually know that I'm writing a story for a child that can't wait to receive it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm just filling up now thinking about it. I feel like I've been given a privilege, a gift of being able to be part of these children's bedtimes, and part of their routines. And when my heart does start getting better and better, I'm wanting to go out there and meet these children as well, all over the world. And I've got them now writing to me, the parents send me emails, because it's all on YouTube Kids. So children can't get in touch
Now,
with
what's
me.
the name of the channel, so we can, and I'll put it in the description too.
It's Auntie Jo's Bedtime Stories. And parents can write to Auntie Jo's Bedtime Stories at gmail.com to have, to ask me to write a poem for their loved ones or children that they know. And I just love it. I'm having so much fun with it. And
I love that. I'm going to tell you what makes yours special is you have your voice. You have a unique voice. And I think that UK accent and that you have going on, it's appealing. I'm telling you, sometimes when I'm playing your videos in the background, my daughter, she stops in her tracks and she says, Mommy, that's Miss Jo. She knows your voice. That voice is so commanding, and it's very sweet. It reminds me of, I don't know if you know who Robin Williams was, but he's a U.S. comedian. He's passed
I
on.
love Robin Williams.
This Stopfire character, he stole your voice. And she was so endearing. Those kids were fooling around, and Miss Doubtfire came in there, and she just came with that voice and her caring and love, and she just kind of reeled them in. And I think that's what your voice does. So I think you are something special. I know that channel is going to blow up. And you really just have to get people to stay on there and kind of binge watch. So you need playlists so they could go back to back to back, because the videos are short. So that's how you're going to get people to stay on. So I don't know if you have a certain theme you have to make a playlist out of that so they could just continuously watch.
Well, on Jo's Sleep and Slim Down journey, I've got a playlist of all of the stories. So that comes out each just whenever a new story. But on the actual bedtime stories, there's two versions. There's the Miss Not See My Nighttime Tales, because that's the one that's always got the black cat and Kitten Chloe in. And then there's the ones that it just always read by me. So they could be about all sorts of things. And they're the ones that where the children are asking me to, like somebody asked me to write a story because he loves Tasmanian devils. There's like, that's what I'm going to be writing.
Oh, I love that. Very good.
Good.
Well,
And
good luck with that. I mean, that sounds like it's and you just lit up talking about it. So that's, you know,
yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be successful because you could tell you're passionate about it, and when you're passionate about something, it shows and it attracts people. So I love that. Good for you.
It's gonna be emotional.
Wow, I love that. Well, Joe, you have to come back and check in again.
Of course.
We're going to do something for our 50th birthday, but we'll get together before then, and we'll do something. Maybe we can highlight this channel. I'm a teacher, and you're coming into my
Oh,
territory.
yes.
I
This is it.
love that.
I'm looking for guidance and you're my mentor. You know that.
Yes, yes, yes. So we'll talk because I do have, I told you I do. We'll talk. We'll talk. So yeah, and I have my daughter send. I didn't know you could write on there, so I'll have my daughter send you something, and she would love that. So I'm trying to get her immersed in reading.
If baby Dee Dee wants to write to me and then we chat about what she wants to write, we'll write a story together.
Yes. Oh, she would love that. She's so creative too, so she would love
I
that.
know.
All
That
right, so we
child
have
of
to.
yours is a star. She is a star.
Oh my goodness, she is. She's a star. She's a star. She has her own vibe and her own thing. I love that though. She has a great personality and she's like a boss lady already.
Already. Yes, she is not taking any prisoners. And
No,
that's what
she
you
is
want, isn't
not.
it? You've raised a good girl there.
Well, thank you. Well, I have to go, Joe. This has been so fun. We'll do it again, and I will make sure that we stay in touch. And
Yes,
I
for
won't
sure.
say goodbye. I'll say see you in the next video. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe to Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey. Bye.